Howdy, I'm Angel, and today is F8 and B there, customer service and conflict. Sorry I didn't get to post it this morning. It's raining like cats and dogs here in San Antonio, and there's a lot of things going on. I wanted to share 3 stories of an example of what I think folks should do when they encounter customer service and conflict. So the 3 stories that I'm going to share briefly are, I'm going to change the words a bit. So it rhymes with Melvit Taco here in San Antonio. There's another customer service encounter. We're going to call this place Fenterprise Rental Car. And then the third one we're going to call Hassel Hills Family Practice. So 2 of them happened to me, and 1 happened to a friend of mine. Anyway, so we had to rent a car, and that was paid for. But when we were returning it, in the parking lot, not this parking lot, there was like balled up pieces of white paper, like all over. And I got out of the car, and I had to there was a designated part that I had to pull into to return the car. And the gentleman that took the car back was like, "Sir, are we doing a good job? Like, how was your experience with us?" And as he's talking to me about customer service and my experience, I looked down and goes like, "Hey, don't you see all this like trash? Like, what's that about?" He's like, "Oh, that's not ours. That's the neighbors." And I thought, in my head, well, how can that be? It's affecting me and my experience. And he's asking me about customer service. And so I think, well, maybe he's young, he doesn't know better or something. He's just reading the script. So I go inside, I just peek inside to see if I can find an assistant manager or something. Just like, "Hey, is this for real?" And I was like, "Hey, you guys see this?" And they're like, "Oh, that's not ours." Like all of them said the same thing. That's not ours. That's like the neighbors. And then I got tired of all this trash hitting me as I was waiting for him to give me the little iPad so I can sign off and returning the car. So I finally just opened the door again and said, "Hey, do you have a trash can? Or do you have a trash bag?" And they were like, "Oh, yes, sir." And they gave me a trash bag. As they saw me, it just bothered me. So I just started picking up the trash myself, put it in the bag. The guy finally finished, and he gave me the iPad. "Is there anything else, Mr. Martinez, that we could do to better serve you?" I was like, "Yeah, you could pick up this trash. Why didn't you help me?" He goes, "Oh, that's not ours." I was like, "Yes, it is yours, and I'm never going to come back here again. This is a poor customer service experience. This bag of trash right here, this is yours." And I hand it to him, and he goes, "Oh, yes, sir, yes, sir. I think I understand now." Anyway, so that was 1. And then number 2 was I went to go get a COVID shot at my former family doctor. And so I schedule it and everything. I get there, they try to charge me a copay. I was like, "Wait a minute, it's COVID shot, like copay, like no." So I got tired of arguing. I paid it because I just wanted my shot. I get there, and then they argue with me about how, "Well, sir, you haven't had blood work in 3 months." So I was like, "What? Just give me my shot." And I started getting upset. And they were like, "Well, it's our policy that you need to be..." I was like, "I had my physical like 6 months ago." "Well, that was 6 months ago, Mr. Martinez. We need your numbers updated within the last 3 months." I was like, "I just want my COVID shot. Is this right?" Anyway, so I said, "This is not right. I want my shot." They finally came in and said, "Well, there's not enough people. If we open this vial, there needs to be 5 other people to get the shot." And I was like, "I can call real quick and get another 5 other people, but this is too complicated. Like, just get me my shot. I can't. You scheduled this. You knew all this. You knew my data. Like, it shouldn't be like that." Anyway, I ended up asking for my copay back and leaving and saying, "This is not right. This is not right." Anyway, shout out to WellMed. Awesome job. Ended up getting my COVID vaccination there. Now I'm fully vaccinated. Just easy peasy, awesome, scheduled, showed up. It worked. It just worked. And the third customer service experience with conflict was my friend. We went to this place. He ordered chicken tacos. He had like 2 bones in his chicken taco and a feather. A feather. Of course, he's grossed out. So he goes and asks, like, hey, is this normal? And he shows them, and they're like, they give him a look like, he's like, there's a bone. There's 2 bones and a feather in my chicken taco. And they look at him and they say, what do you want us to do about it? Anyway, so customer service and conflict. Number one, what happens is these businesses and places we go, they set an expectation for us as customers. And it'd be different if they're like, you know what, we make like okay tacos and sometimes we put bones in it. Or, hey, you know what, sometimes when you engage us as professionals, maybe we're not so good. Like if they set that expectation, they were like, okay, it's so much, this might happen, I accept it. But when they have these like guiding principles and they say we provide excellent service or we're professionals, or you know, and then they have like a survey to ask you about customer service, like that's the disconnect where that's where we get upset as customers. And so how do you deal with it? One, ask them to try to make it right. Ask them in a nice way. Hey, this is what's going on. I'm conveying this to you as a customer. Can you make it right? Number one. And then number two, sometimes they can't make it right. And it's just too much drama to deal with it, so just walk away. That's my recommendation. That's what I've done. Yeah, you can do the whole like Yelp thing and other things, but ultimately, it's not worth the energy. Drama takes up so much energy. Use that energy to do positivity, to do things that are purposeful and uplifting. Shift that energy that way. And that's what I'm doing with this. So anyway, so that's today's F8 and Be There. Customer service and conflict.